Welcome to Family Friday. I'm Ray Davis, Family Life Minister for the North Oaks Church of Christ in Santa Clarita, California. And I'm continuing to apply the teachings of Ephesians 4 and 5 to marital and family relationships. Today, the 5th chapter of Ephesians addresses sexual and verbal impurity. Here's what it says. But fornication and impurity of any kind or greed must not even be mentioned among you, as is proper among saints. Entirely out of place is obscene, silly, and vulgar talk. But instead, let there be thanksgiving. Be sure of this, that no fornicator or impure person or one who's greedy, that is, an idolater, has any inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of God. Let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of these things the wrath of God comes on those who are disobedient. That's chapter 5, verses 3 through 6 from the New Revised Standard Version. In Northern California, you can see places where people and companies washed away the soil with high-pressure hoses trying to get the gold. They had no regard of the pollutants traveling downstream, nor did they believe the land had any value besides the precious metals buried beneath it. The scars inflicted by their self-interest remain 170 years later. The pristine Garden of Eden and the relationship between Adam and Eve was God's intent, ideal intent for humanity. Sexual innocence between husband and wife, and purity of character and speech among family members. Wow, how far we have drifted from God's ideal. Our culture savors sexual and verbal vulgarity. We reward greediness. And all of this is trying to achieve domination over people, animals, and the rest of creation. What the Lord intended as blessings, humanity has turned into pawns for possessions, power, and prestige. For the sake of our selfishness, we can easily erode the security and love due for others for generations. No aspect of American life escapes the sexual and verbal crudiness, including our families, husbands and wives, parents and children, treating one another as toys, annoyances, or hindrances. And this is not the way Jesus, nor does it affirm God created us in the image, His image, or that Jesus has died for all. As a counselor, I cannot begin to tell you of all the scarring I have witnessed from people abused sexually and verbally by family. Family, the place God intended to be pristine, supporting and loving. So stop letting your neighbors, co-workers, friends, your family as a whole, as well as the politicians, social media, and news media, set the standards of how you should view and treat others. View people, including your spouse and kids, as God sees them. And remember, as this text that we're looking at today, God's wrath will be revealed at the end of the age upon those practicing vulgarity, both sexual and verbal, as well as the vulgarity of greed. Until next time, reflect on the sacredness of your family relationships.